shit, I'm recording.
Sup, peeps? I don't have my green screen with me, so the joke I wrote for this was that I'm not on the moon. I'm in hell, but I don't have my green screen and I don't feel like masking myself out. So, Bayonetta 2! I know it's been like 9 months since I uploaded. Bayonetta 2!
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta 2 was produced by Nintendo and Platinum Games for the Wii U. For this video, I am playing the Switch version, however, because I bought that one. The Wii U version, however, launched with a version of Bayo 1 included, since the game had never been on a Nintendo console before. Anyways, without further ado, it's been like 9 months, and I've rewritten this video 3 times. It's time to play Bayonetta 2. I loved Bayonetta 1. I thought it was really fun, it had a bonkers story, and I've really wanted to play the sequel, so here we are. The game opens on narration from Luca, and I don't know why it took me this long to realize that he was played by Spider-Man, Yuri Lowenthal.
Oh, shit! MJ, get him out of here. I'll handle this.
But he goes on to talk about how some guy, a seer, was the god of chaos, and he created the eyes of the world, and those were his eyes, and I thought Jubileus was God, but there's also this guy now. I don't know if they're different or whatever. I don't know. We do the thing from Bayonetta 1 where we fight over the narration, but instead of with Jean, we're fighting with Bayonetta's mom. Spoilers, by the way. And after this, we cut to the ending of Bayonetta 1, where we see her dad be like, "Finally, you have fulfilled your promise to me." And then this ghost guy tries to, like, leave his body, and he's like, "No, you die with me," and then he dies, I think. When I first started this, I was like, what? And then when I finished the game, I was like, oh, and also, what? So the real opening of the game is a very fun sequence, kind of similar to the DMC5 intro, but less action-packed. I mostly say this due to the street sign thing, and then we see an 8-bit Mario sprite, because like I said, this game is made by Nintendo. And then my boy Enzo, the goat, appears on screen and then says fuck.
I'd off the fucking wing bastards all damn day! Oh!
We see Mario, and Christmas time, and then fuck. I think we live in the best timeline. Some shit happens, they run into Jean, it's Christmas time, and then bam, fighter jets and angels and cool action, and Bayonetta gets stripped naked, because of course. And then Jean fucking dies! And I don't understand how. Like, in the first game, she, like, freed Bayonetta from Jubileus and toe-to-toe with Bayonetta, like, 3 times, and I suck at this game and took way too much damage in the fight to that guy that she died to, and I'm still alive. So yeah, Jean died from that weak little baby punch and now is in hell. Cereza is all sad about this and decides to go to hell to save her best friend. Overall, I like this opening. It just kind of throws you into the game right away, which I appreciate a lot. And in this opening sequence, we get our first look at many of the game's new features, and one specific thing I'm going to dive really deep into, just real quick, okay? You ready? This game fucking rules. And also I hate it. But let's go to the positive out of the way first. This game plays like a goddamn dream. Take everything I had positive to say about the first game's combat and crank that shit up to 11. It looks better, feels smoother, and the combo potential feels even more insane, and it just makes me feel worse about how much I suck. Slashing through hordes of angels and demons has never felt so good. The moves, like dodging in the first game, is not bad by any means. I think it was great there. But in this game, it just feels better. You know? This is probably the most smooth action game I have ever felt like playing. Like, for real. The weapons in this game are also way better and more interesting, and there's also like way more of them to unlock, and I love them, and I diversified my like combat way more in this game compared to the first. But there's a really cool one you get for beating the game, so I'm just gonna wait to talk about the weapons until the end. So yeah. So after Jean fucking dies, and Bayonetta decides to go to hell to save her, she shows up at this place I can't remember the name of because it's been a year since I've played the game. Right, is Notan? I don't remember, I don't care. The town of Genesis, and it sits at the bottom of Mount Fimbulventer, a name I remember because it sounds weird. I Fimbulventered your mom last night. Anyways, Fimbulventer is supposed to be the only place in the world where there is a way to get to both Paradiso and Inferno. And this level is okay, I guess. It introduces me to my least favorite mechanic in this game, the water sections. See, I don't actually mind water sections in most games. The Water Temple is like my third favorite dungeon in Ocarina of Time. Jolly Roger Bay kicks ass. The fucking swamp level in Castle Crashers, just jump a lot and bring the seahorse. The boss is really cool, but oh my god, I hate it so much here in Bayonetta 2. It's just the same game that I like, but way slower and less fun. Most water stages introduce like new challenges and shit that take advantage of the fact that you're in water, but here it's just playing a really good game with like a blue filter in slow motion. But this slow motion only applies to you and not the enemy. And yes, it's more challenging, and yes, I do suck, but I managed to beat this game on one of the harder difficulties, and these parts just suck and I hate them. Sometime after this, we meet up with this asshole Loki. No, not Loki from Marvel, not Loki from One Piece, not Loki from some other third thing I can't think of, but this annoying British child. Baby Cereza, this is not. Anyways, this prick, he's got some kind of weird hand powers or something, and is also trying to get to Fimbulventer because he has memory loss. Then, we get attacked by a mysterious Lumen Sage, and you fight him and he leaves. Bayonetta gets the shittiest power boost, it can now turn into a fucking snake thing, and you have faster swimming from this point on. I have major issues with most of the rest of the game, and that is simply because I hate most of the level design. I am no expert, but like so much of this game is just a hallway, and you kill dudes. It's like everything that's wrong with Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, the level design is just boring. And yeah, they have secrets hidden around, but they're either too obvious or like too hard to find, and I can't find them. But like I said, most of the levels are just long corridors, but the last game had a lot of that too. I hear you yelling at me through your screen with my mind powers. But for some reason, it just feels better in the first game. Like, in this game, most of the stages are either too open or more likely too narrow, making exploring either a bother or boring. It's not a game killer. I still think this game is like way better than the first one in like every other aspect other than this one. So it's not a big deal at the end of the day. I just think it's worth bringing up. After making it to Fimbulventer while fighting angels, we get our first real look at Paradiso for a few minutes, and this is really cool. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Bayonetta can fly in this game. She flies now! She flies now! And this is sick. It has the drawback of limiting your movement and also kind of locking the camera, but it has the benefit of adding scale and spectacle to fights. Like in the beginning, when you fight Gamora in the city, you're flying around as he crawls up buildings and stuff, and it makes the fight feel cooler and way grander than if you just had to fight him standing on the ground. Like a lot of the flying bosses in the first game would just kind of lift up a platform for you to stand on and kick them. And I just never understood why they don't just break the platform so that you fall and then they can't die. But yeah, 10 out of 10. No notes. Love this. After some more cool fights, we head towards Inferno on like a magic submarine or something. I just genuinely don't remember. And we fight this big ray thing that looks so sick, and then get eaten by it and get separated from Loki. Bayonetta tries to find him inside Jabu Jabu's belly, and then bam, we fight this prick. I can't remember if it's now, earlier, or later, but we find out that he has the right eye of the world, which shouldn't be possible because Bayonetta's dad had it, and it died along with him, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, we kick the shit out of him, and then he leaves. Now that we're in hell, I want to talk about the enemies. And yeah, dude, they're pretty sick. The new angels aren't that special, but the demons, oh man, most of them are either like some kind of giant monster or a like biomechanical looking thing, and it looks so sick. They're more like organic machine look, kind of contrasts well with that like eldritch horror and like stone carving look of the angels, and they're just so cool to fight. Inferno itself also looks sick, and these areas are also really well designed compared to most of the rest of the game. And there's also down here, we have a boss fight against Phantasmarine, which is just a reference to Phantom from Devil May Cry 1, which is sick, and I love it. But after a while, we reach Jean's soul. But after a while, we find Jean's soul, who's being protected by this, like, spiky lady, who really hates Madame Butterfly. We team up with Rodin for a little bit, so that's cool. But we beat up the spiky lady, save Jean's soul, but then Loki gets captured by the Lumen Sage guy. And we have like a horse chase, which is pretty cool. We get out of Inferno, and then Loki's powers get all wonky, and we get sent back in time to the events of the first game. And this part is awesome. We're taking through some of that game's best levels, and we get to fully experience the events of the past within Bayonetta 1. And by that, I'm referring to the stuff that we see in like the cutscenes with like the angels invading and killing Bayonetta's mom and stuff. If you don't remember that, go watch my Bayonetta 1 video, so you should do that. So while experiencing the events of the past, we see that the masked Lumen Sage is actually Bayonetta's father, Baldur, who was manipulated into causing the event that killed Bayonetta's mom that night by a guy named Lopter. Lopter, I hardly know her. So this event basically recontextualizes part of the first game, and also there's cool mech suits and like bam, boom, bam, epic. Bam, boom, bam, epic. It's really fun. But after working with Rosa for a while, and going through this whole like war sequence that I love, Baldur is pulled into the future after setting all this into motion, and we follow soon after. Now, we're kind of close to the end game. It is revealed to us that Lopter and Loki were once a seer, and in order to be complete, he needs Loki's powers and both eyes of the world. So Lopter fuses with Loki and steals the eyes from Bayonetta and Baldur. The two are then saved by Jean, who is alive again, and she flies a jet into the building. And now Bayonetta and Baldur team up to defeat the newly awakened Aesir, the god of chaos. And, oh yeah, Luca is there too. Bayonetta, Baldur, and Jean have this really cool part where they're flying on a jet toward Aesir, and we're hacking and slashing through a bunch of angels, and this is great. It's like the missile level from the first game, but I don't fucking hate it. The pace breakers in this game in general are way more fun than in Bayonetta 1, and I like them now. So that's a plus. But now, this is it. Bayonetta and Baldur versus Aesir, the god of chaos. And this fight is sick. Jubileus definitely had a more, like, spectacle fight, you know, it was a lot more, like, scenic and epic, but Aesir is just so much more fun to fight, and is also way harder. Reality warping, a bunch of cool moves and shit, and about halfway through the fight, Loki wakes up, and he does the biggest ass pull in video game history, and he goes, "Oh yeah, you may have stolen my weird powers to rule the human world, but you didn't take into account that Aesir's true power is the power of nothing," or something like that. "With it I can erase anything from existence, and I just remembered this now." So Loki erases the eyes of the world from existence, and then Lopter is just back to Lopter again. Yeah, you kick his ass really hard. You and Baldur team up to summon Jubileus from the first game to kick the shit out of him, and you hit him so hard his body and soul separate, and you punch his body into a monster, but Lopter isn't done. He possesses Baldur, and he's pulled back into the past, and makes Bayonetta promise to kill him when the time comes, and then the gang goes home for Christmas, and the credits roll. Overall, a better game. I think the story is worse and more confusing, and I don't know if you've been following so far, so let me explain some stuff to you. Alright, so in Bayonetta 1, as far as I understand, in Bayonetta 1, she wakes up at the bottom of the lake, is framed for killing Luca's dad, she has no memories, and becomes an angel hunter or something like that, with her witch powers. She meets Jean, meets Luca, goes back to her hometown, goes through the first game, meets baby Cereza, which is her. Her father uses that to lure her and Luca to his skyscraper. Jean and Bayonetta also fight. Jean is then freed from mind control and is your best friend again, and then she gets exploded. And then Bayonetta meets her father, and it's revealed that the left and the right eyes of the world are her and her dad. And he killed Luca's dad, so Luca's now chill with Bayonetta now. and he puts himself into the statue of Jubileus along with Bayonetta. His corporate building turns into a rocket ship. We get sent into space. Jean didn't blow up, uses a motorcycle to drive up the rocket ship, rip Bayonetta out of the statue. Baldur gets crushed to death. Bayonetta kills Jubileus, sends its soul into the sun, returns to Earth. Jean does cosplay, and then we see Bayonetta's father do that thing from the beginning, where Lopter's ghost tries to leave his body, and he goes, "You die with me, and you finally fulfill my promise, Cereza." At some point, Loki and Lopter split. Loki has no memory of anything, and Lopter wants to become a seer again. But in the present, the right eye is gone. It died with Baldur, so he travels back in time, steals Baldur from the past, manipulates him into starting the event that gets his wife killed. Jean gets one-pumped by a demon and dragged to hell. Bayonetta goes to Natan to bring her back, meets Loki, meets Luca again, fights Baldur a few times, goes to hell with Loki, saves Jean, comes back to the human world, gets sent back in time to meet her mom, meets Baldur, then goes back to the future. Lopter and Baldur get Loki. Baldur feels betrayed and joins Bayonetta. Jean shows up in a jet. They fly in and fight a seer. Loki does the ass pull. Lopter possesses Baldur. Baldur is then pulled back in time and makes Cereza promise to kill him, which then leads into the events of Bayonetta 1. So it's a fucking time loop. Baldur goes back in time and is evil in the first game because he is possessed by Lopter. Bayonetta kills him in that game, thus the past version of her fulfills their promise, and that then allows Bayonetta 2 to happen, which makes it a paradox. The only reason Lopter has to go back in time to get the right eye is because he went back in time to get the right eye, and it loops like this forever. So Bayonetta 1 and 2 essentially form a long, confusing time paradox story, and I had a really hard time following it, and I still don't know if I like it. It's very weird. But moving on from that, after beating the game, you unlock Jean as a playable character, and man, I'm going to say this now, I think she looks ugly with the long hair. Normally I like characters with long hair, but here, I hate it. I think it's the red and white combo. She already, sticks out way too much in my opinion, so I think, this is just a step too far. I forgot to record this line. Also, you can unlock unlockable outfits by using amiibos and stuff. Cool effects sometimes. Like as Link, you get Zelda sounds when you pick stuff up or clear areas, things like that. But my favorite one is the Metroid one. When you sprint, you turn into the Morph Ball, and you always have a ranged arm cannon attack that you can charge, and it's cool, it's great. Metroid is my second favorite Nintendo franchise of all time, so I appreciate this. Another thing that's great about these is that you don't lose your clothes when playing the game, and that's a plus. Other than Jean, there are actually a few other secret unlockable characters. The first you get by beating the final boss on a harder mode, and this is Bayonetta's mom, Rosa, and she's just a less customizable version of her daughter. So Jean is just better since she can use all the weapons, even if her moves are just Bayonetta's but white. Also, with these custom characters, but especially if you play as Jean, your character changes in the cutscenes to her, but her model doesn't. So, she saves herself at the end. There's one of her in the jet, and then another one of her not in the jet. And I don't know how to feel about that. It certainly looks funny. There are also two other unlockable characters I couldn't get. One is Baldur, who you have to get in the multiplayer mode, which I'll touch on in a second. You need to get lucky and have one specific card that lets you fight Baldur and Rosa, and once you beat it, you get Baldur. But I couldn't beat him, and I didn't feel like grinding. And the other is Rodin, and I also couldn't unlock him. His fight was too hard, but yes, you heard me right. I said multiplayer. And yeah, it's fun. Basically, it's an enemy boss gauntlet thing where you and a friend fight some dudes. Unfortunately, there is no split screen or friend matchmaking online, but there is local play, and that's cool. It adds a lot of replay value, I think. Just being able to hop on for a few minutes, kill some dudes, and hopping out. It's a less in-depth Bloody Palace from Devil May Cry that you can play with friends. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is the weapons. There are far more this time. I did not unlock all of them, but they are really fun to use. And the one you get for beating the game is super sick. You give Rodin the disc, and he comes back and gives you a fucking chain chomp from Mario. I don't really understand how to use it, but I think it's so cool. Another thing this game does is help with those people who think that all Nintendo games share a universe, because when you scan an amiibo and bring the stuff to Rodin, he's like, damn, you got that shit from Hyrule? And shit like that is also pretty cool, but I don't know. But yeah, Bayonetta 2 is a great fucking game, and I think it has small downsides, but it plays and looks better than the original by, like, a lot. And while I didn't like the characters as much in the story in this game compared to the first one, I mean, Luca was barely in this game, and Baby Cereza was a little gangster, I started off hating Loki, and by the end of the game, I was pretty indifferent to him, to be honest. I might even go as far as to say that he was alright.
I like him! Put him on a shirt!
And that's cool. Anyways, that's it for this one. Peace. What? Why are you still here? Are you waiting for me to sing again? No, I'm saving that for the Metopia video. Oh, and also, do ra 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 ra. I couldn't think of JoJo's reference.